Hello, welcome to another exciting episode of Afri Xperience podcast, a podcast where experts, people traveling to Africa, Ghana, share their story to inspire others in the Western world to, change the narrative and the perception they have about Africa. And this episode is going to be very interesting because we are taking you all the way back to 1996, 1997. Our guest was here in Ghana during those period. And now he's come back to reconnect with the people, with the local people over here. Very interesting story. You need to stick around and watch. This episode actually teaches us about, culture, return, and how Ghana always finds a way to stay with you. My name is Great. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still watching Afri Xperience podcast right here on NG Studio 2025. And also, I want you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have a lot of stories to share about expats living in Africa and in Ghana. And guys, meet my special guest for this episode, Mr. Pascal Murphy.
Nice to see you. Yes, thanks for having me.
Wow, you learned that also.
Some things stick.
Right. Akwaba.
Thank you.
So, in Ewe, we have something different. It's Wezo.
Wezo.
So when I say Wezo, you say
Akbe.
Yeah. Okay. So Wezo.
Akbe.
Yeah. You've heard Akwaba for so many times, so I'm just introducing you to the Ewe side of saying Akwaba. That is Wezo.
I love it. Yeah. I love it.
How does it feel to be in Ghana?
Wow. It's really quite incredible. I was here, as you know, in 1996, so that was 30 years ago, and the return has really felt like a homecoming.
Special one. Well, okay, we want to start from the basics.
Okay.
You want to get to know you and what you do, where you are from originally.
Okay, so I am the son of immigrants to Canada.
Right.
My mother was Belgian. My father, way back, was Irish. And I grew up in Canada, not far from Toronto. I now live in Toronto. And I think relevant to this, I came here in 1996 with an organization called One World Global Education. And at the time, it was a really progressive organization that wanted to introduce Canadians to people throughout the world that live differently. And was unique in that so many organizations go with a mindset that we know better.
Right.
And this they challenged dramatically. Our goal wasn't to come to Ghana and teach or to say we know better or anything like that. Our goal as the organization was to come and learn, to learn from, and to allow that to change us.
Wow.
So that's where it started.
I see. It's been a different story for many others, who come in here. They come to, teach, they come to take and do whatever they want to do. But in your case, it's different. You were coming here to learn.
Yes.
What was the purpose of doing that?
I think that we don't create a world that we want unless we do that kind of thing. Right. I think it's critically important that we learn from each other. And if I bring a mindset that I already know better, I'm going to limit my capacity to growth. I'm going to limit your capacity to growth. I'm going to limit the capacity that we can grow together. So I think that mindset is an old mindset that we need to challenge. Right. And sadly, a mindset that it still exists, but limits us. So that was the whole intent of the organization.
Okay. Even before you came to Ghana, back then in 1996, what are some of the things you heard about Africa? And when you heard the news that you were coming down to Africa, what was running through your mind?
Oh, you're bringing me back. Okay, so at that time, the major things that we would see about Africa were put together by an organization called World Vision. And their intent was to do positive things on the continent. But it was often young children, bloated stomachs, in the depths of poverty. And we know that existed and still exists, but it's not the whole story. And so I had to work through some of that, right? Because when the media gives you an expectation of what you're going to see, and then you see different things, you've got to work that through. Right. And that was an incredibly important thing for me. Okay. So too many assumptions are made when that is your only insight. Right. And at the time, we didn't have social media, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have any of those things. So the reality is, if you came, you were here. Mm-hmm. In fact, over the 6 months that I spent in Ghana, 1996, 97, I had one phone call home.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's a different time. Yeah. It's a different time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you came to Africa with all the things you've seen on TV and all of that, what are some of the things that caught your attention? That okay, this is a different place. This is not what we've heard. There are more to this place than than we watch or we heard out there. What are some of the things that caught your attention?
To be honest, at first, so much was going on, so much for me was different that I couldn't fully appreciate it all. Mm-hmm. So to me, I would speak about it in terms of layers, right? Some things would surprise me. It could be the way traffic functions, the language itself, the cultural ways, like all of those things were new to me, and I was a stranger. Right. And it took me time to start to appreciate the fact that there's so many layers. Once you start to get used to a few things, you see more and more and more. Mm-hmm. And so, for example, like even this time, the return, it's been 30 years. So some of my knowledge is lost, but some of it's coming back. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting is just staying here in Osu. I'm going round and round, and it took me a week before I figured out where to find Kiliwili. Right, and this was something I had to do because it was a memory embodied, right? And but it took me a week, but it's just here, mm-hmm. right? But the thing is, when so much is new, you can't see it all at once. So you need to take time to appreciate it, and as you appreciate more and more, you get to see more and more. Right. So that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah. I'm curious about 1996 and 1997. Right. Take us through the journey when you first go to Ghana. Where did you move to? What were you doing? Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So, we did a bunch of different things, but what I'll focus on is I came as a part of a group of 12 Canadians. And our intention, as I said, was to learn from, right? Mm-hmm. So we spent half of my group, half of our time was in Tamale. Okay. And not just specifically Tamale. For me, it was a village outside of Tamale named Cheshe. Okay. And so I lived in the village of Cheshe for about 2 months, roughly. Mm-hmm. And then after the midpoint in the program, myself and the other Canadians went to different places. For me, there was a period of time that I went up to Jenga, a little north of Tamale. And I did some well digging with an organization called Northern Empowerment Association for a period of time. And then after that, I came down to Accra and I did some volunteer work with street kids. Okay. So it was a 2-part program. But the first part was, it's not about doing. And this is a critical thing, is that if you come with this expectation you're going to do and do for, then you're not necessarily leaving room for learning from. So it was really about learning from, gaining an understanding, a cultural understanding, which happened in Tamale and Cheshe. And then after that, even the volunteer work, to be perfectly honest, I don't know the cultural context. Mm-hmm. And even though I was learning and appreciating it more and more, the different layers of it, I think it was really, for me, with the street children, accompaniment. Okay. And just spending time with. Okay. But if you don't know the cultural understanding, how can I be a significant impact in terms of the operational manner of how this happens?
Right. Okay. I'm interested in stories, Were there any exciting stories back there in Tamale that, stuck with you till now?
So many stories. Okay. So many. Okay. So you know what? I'll tell stories, and as long as you have patience for them.
Right, yeah, of course I am.
So, I mean, I'm entering into Cheshe holds a special place in my heart. Okay. And you got to imagine I'm entering into an environment I have no idea. Now, we went through a lot of preparation work and what have you to bring us to experience this. But even that can only prepare you so much. So I remember a particular evening, and we were told when we were coming here that if there's a full moon, there'll probably be a dance. there'll be drummers, there'll be dancing, there'll be singing, and it'll last the entire evening.
Okay.
And so this to me was like, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
At the time I was 19. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like a night long of drumming and dancing?
Yeah.
Count me in.
You're all in for the fun.
I'm all in, absolutely. And so at the time, I remember I was hoping to learn some drumming.
Okay.
And I had purchased a talking drum. And so they said, why don't you come to the party? I said, okay, I'll bring my drum. And they said, great, we'll see you there. So I go to this party, I bring my drum, and the drummers are like, okay, come and welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. And you hear that over and over again, which is so beautiful. And I'm starting to drum, and I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I don't drum at home. I don't know why I thought I could drum here, like with these master drummers.
Yeah.
And I'm not keeping up with the beat, nothing like this. I'm starting to get it, okay? Just little bits. And they say, okay, that's enough drumming for you. Right? And so somebody takes my drum, and they say, okay, maybe you should try dancing instead. And so I dance a little bit, and they say, okay, maybe it's time for you to sit down. Like, this is within minutes, okay? So I'm expecting a great night.
Right.
And I try drumming, a few minutes, they're like, okay, enough of that.
Yeah.
I try dancing, a few minutes, they're like, enough of that. And then I'm sitting there, and they're like, okay, it's time for you to go home.
Okay.
And they walk me back to the family that I'm staying with, and I go to bed. And the worst thing was that I'm laying in bed, and I can't sleep because there's drumming.
Okay.
Right? And what's wild is, I remember, and this I think is a real important cultural understanding. I remember being told about the welcome and participate, and people want you to have part of things, and yet I felt like I was just thrown out of the party. So this was difficult at the time as a 19-year-old to process.
Yeah.
It took me a few days because the language was so different, and there was only really one person in the village who spoke pretty decent English. So it took me a few days, and I finally kind of understand what actually happened. See, I had thought that I was rejected.
Right.
But the reality was I was taken care of. Because what happened is the elders in the village heard my drumming, and they heard that I couldn't keep the beat. Now, the assumption was, why would somebody have a drum unless they can drum? So the fact that I couldn't keep the beat said to them that I was tired.
Oh.
So they made the assumption that I was tired, and the young people were having so much fun with me, they wouldn't let me leave. So the elders ordered the young people to send me home.
To go get some rest.
So this is, I think, something really quite incredible about a cross-cultural experience, is that it could be understood as, oh my gosh, I was rejected. But no, the reality was I was cared for. They were thinking of me. And the communication wasn't there to figure it all out until later. But wow, did that change things for me. So that's like one story of many of the cultural experience, the learning, the growth, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I'm sure you made a few friends over there also. The family you were living with, what was the, the connection over there? Because a lot of people come in here and they say, oh, Ghanaians are so hospitable, they're so welcoming. Have there been any experience over like that?
In fact, with the family that I lived with in Cheshire, it goes beyond just friendship. In many ways, they're like family. I lived with them for such a long period of time. We got to know each other, and even though we don't share the same primary language, there's so much that can be appreciated about each other without that language. And I remember, for example, I was there, and they had two kids at the time, Matilda and Ima. And Ima was just a small little boy.
Okay.
And what I love about the children then and now again is they have no hesitation to speak with you. Okay. Like, they speak with you like you know, and they have the patience to teach you. And so Ima was my teacher, and we connected wonderfully. I saw him again, and now he's 37 or 35, right? But that kind of connection just sticks with me. The reality is that my time in Ghana, in Cheshire, in Accra, changed me radically. I've carried that with me for my entire life. It set me on a different path. to me, you can't separate what Ghana gave me from who I am. That's not possible. So this is why I have family here. I feel at home here. And when I returned to Cheshire, the welcome home was absolutely incredible.
Wow. Well, I'm interested in the change that has happened to you visiting Ghana. Are there any specifics, to that change? Because, it was only 6 months you lived in Ghana, right? Yeah. In 1996. How was 6 months able to transform you?
So, growing up in Canada, I'm within a particular cultural environment that you can get to know, but doesn't necessarily challenge you outside of it, right? So if you step out of that environment, and I really encourage people to do this, to step outside of your environment, you not just learn about Ghana, but you learn about parts of yourself that you would not ever have known in your own cultural environment. So I changed because Ghana, and what is Ghana? Ghana is the people. I changed because the people grew me. I was 19. It was a formative time in my life, right? And even though it was 6 months, which now, with my gray beard, doesn't seem like a very long period of time, it was quite incredible. It was quite incredible because it gave me that space to grow that I wouldn't have experienced in the same way in Canada. A historical mindset around the continent of Africa is what can we take? We see that in our history. We see that, and I see that in my ancestors. That has been the reality.
Right.
So coming without that mindset, coming with the mindset of how can I grow and what can I appreciate is a radically different thing. I can't change what my ancestors did. I can only change how I approach.
Right.
And how I approach is with appreciation. And if you allow yourself to appreciate, then you will change. So it's a long-winded way. Your question is hard to answer,
right?
Because it's like answering the breadth of who I am. But my time in Ghana set me on a different path in life. Absolutely different path. It was, do not get me wrong, it was an incredibly challenging time to be here. You can't go cross-cultural and expect it not to be. It's always going to have its challenges.
Right.
But isn't that how we grow anyway?
Yeah.
If it's not going to challenge us, how are we going to grow?
Right.
If we don't challenge ourselves, we stagnate. I'm not interested in that. So it grew me to a point when I returned. My challenge was here in terms of cross-cultural, right? Culture shock, we used to call it.
Right.
Going home, I wasn't ready for this, but it was a bigger shock. Because Ghana changed me to the point where I went home with different eyes. I saw the world differently. So going home was going home to a place I thought I knew. And then having to re-understand it. So that was more difficult for me, to be honest. And it was also something that, Ghana impacted me in my heart to such a degree that there was a wonderful intention on my behalf to bring home as much as I possibly could, right? To bring home the learning, the community, the engagement, right? There's a saying here, and please correct me if I'm wrong. If a lion's on top of a person, you don't say get off of him. You say get off us. This blows my mind. To a North American, that's such a strange thing. But as I've come to appreciate that through lived experience in my time here, I go back with that mindset into a world that's not ready for that, or into a place that's not ready for that. So it was difficult.
I'll tell you something. With my apartment where I stay, we are like 3 people in there. And, we are 2 mostly over there, but we have one friend coming to visit us, who is the 3rd person. And whenever this friend comes in and I wake up, he also wakes up. And there's one other guy who is always in the room. He doesn't come out probably till afternoon. You know, my friend tells me we need to check up on him if he's still okay in there.
Right.
You understand? But outside of Ghana, I've heard stories that, some people, unfortunately do die in their rooms, and for weeks, days, they don't hear from them until, they begin to smell and all of that. You experience this kind of love and togetherness, here in Ghana. When you went back, did it play a role in any way?
It played a role in every way.
Okay.
Because I brought the intention to bring that. I had the intention to bring that with me. Mm-hmm. So everything was trying to create this. And I failed over and over again.
Whoa.
Oh, absolutely. That was the challenge of coming home. Let me contextualize it in a story.
Right.
When I was spending time in Cheshire, let's say it would take me 10 minutes to physically walk from one side of the Cheshire to the other, okay? But it wouldn't ever take 10 minutes. It would take 30 minutes or longer, because the reality is that people are most important. So you greet people. You ask people, how's your morning? How was your sleep? How are your children? Right? And wish them the best in their days. So if you do that, it takes you longer to go across the town. I loved this. All these greetings. In Canada, we don't do this. You don't walk by just anyone and talk. So to contextualize this, I think that's one of the beauties of what happened here in Ghana for me. To contextualize it, I went home and I tried to replicate this. And so I remember one particular evening, I was walking with a few friends and I said hello to a few women, and there was a guy with them who got really angry.
Whoa.
And I hate to say it, but assaulted me. He pulled me down from behind. He kicked me in the head. He broke my orbit in my eye.
That's crazy.
I blacked out, and I was taken by ambulance to the hospital. So what was beautiful here was dangerous there. Now, this is an alarming story. This is not the breadth of Canada. I don't want to misrepresent Canada.
Yeah.
But it does speak of the cultural divide that exists, and also my intention to bridge that.
Right.
I want a world where we can engage people. Yeah. I love how Ghanaians, the first word I heard coming to your country, Akwaba.
Yeah.
It was the security guard at the airport.
Okay. Even back in 1996.
Yes. First thing that was said to me as I land on your soil, Akwaba. I wish in Canada we had 1/10 of the welcome that you have in Ghana. So that's part of my intent. That's part of who I became, is to try to recreate that in Canada. You spoke about some people dying alone. Yeah. In fact, my work in some ways in Canada became around people experiencing homelessness, people who are discarded and forgotten and can die alone. And I wanted to change that. And look, I don't know how much of an impact I've had in my life, but I know the intent that I bring. Yeah. And that gives me peace. That allows me to, I know it might sound weird, but that allows me to love who I am. Yeah. And that's a gift. Yeah.
I'm going to ask the last question on, on your visit, 1996. You were given a title in Tamale. Tell me about that.
So, what I love is that the welcome isn't just a word.
Okay.
The welcome expresses itself in so many different ways. So when I arrived in the village of Cheshire, I was given a name, Azindo. And in Accra, it's Kwekumensa.
Kwekumensa.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not just a welcome, it's like, now you're one of us. And that's what people would say. You've got the name, now you're one of us. And so for my first bit of time in Cheshire, I was Azindo. And then all of a sudden, people started calling me something different. I was like, whoa, wait, I'm not quite understanding what's happened here. And they started calling me Nachina. And I didn't know what that meant, but as I came to understand, it was an honorary title of Chief of the Young People.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. What I think is beautiful and sad at the same time is that when I come and I appreciate someone,
Yeah.
they can give me the same back. And that's how I see it.
Yeah.
I, without question, honor and respect and appreciate the people that I've met here. And over again, it's returned. And I think this is critically important. We have our histories.
Yeah.
My ancestors were a part of some terrible things.
Yeah.
I acknowledge that.
Right.
I can't change the past. I can only move forward with the intention that they lacked. They couldn't see the world. They couldn't see Africa. They couldn't see Africans from a vision of appreciation. That limited them.
Right.
And that limited the world. So to me, that's what's important. And the respect that was shared came through a name as well. And so it's an incredible honor to be named as Chief of the Young People with that honorary title.
Right. Now, I'm curious. Back in 1996, 1997, it was a little bit more closer to when your ancestors came in and did whatever they have to do. Compared to now, it was a little closer. Now, you coming in with a different skin color, did you receive any treatment of that sort, like, racism back then?
Nothing stands out in my mind. Was it there? Perhaps, but perhaps I didn't understand it or hear it because I might not have heard it in the language.
Yeah.
But that in itself tells me something.
Right.
That tells me the grace that you have in Ghana far exceeds so many other places in the world. To know the history and to still welcome me. I'm sitting with you. You and your ancestors could have any possible reason to hate me and what I represent.
Right.
And yet overwhelmingly, you choose not to. You choose to welcome. Now, that to me is extraordinary. That to me is beautiful. I'd like to think I'm that big of a person. But credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
The people who welcome me, knowing what my ancestors did, beautiful people.
Right. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion. Going back to 1996 and your experience over there. We're going to move forward to you coming back, to see the massive improvement, development here now. But before we do that, let's go for a quick break. Okay. All right. Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome back on Afri Xperience podcast. I'm having a very interesting conversation with Pascal, right?
Yeah, well, that's my English name.
Yeah.
Kweku Mensa, Inakra, Azindonachina, and Tamale.
In Tamale.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to continue our conversation, and this time around, we're going to focus on your return.
Okay.
Or I should say your homecoming.
Thank you.
Yeah. First things first, when you landed at Kotoka International Airport, coming back home, what was the feeling like?
Hot.
Okay.
My body's not built for this.
Yeah.
To be
You can
perfectly
say
honest.
that.
But anticipation, excitement, curiosity, name every single emotion, it was there.
Right.
It's kind of like, when you're overwhelmed by something like that,
Yeah.
you can't put one name to it.
Yeah.
It's just everything all at once.
Mix all together.
Yeah. But this time coming back, what's really amazing is that I was with Sarah. Or in the north now, they're calling her Suhiyini. So they've named her as well. But I was coming back with Sarah, and I just want to share a bit of context for that. So when I left in 1996, I had a real, like, a dream that I wanted to bring my future wife to Ghana.
Wow.
I didn't know Sarah at the time. I wouldn't know her for quite a number of years yet. But this intent remained. And Sarah and I are actually going to get married. We've been together for 17 years, but we haven't signed the documents.
Okay.
So we're going to do that.
Yeah.
But,
congratulations in advance.
Thank you. But to do that, I think we need to fulfill that dream. And so that dream was being realized. Sarah stepped on the Ghanaian soil. Like in 1996, we were told, welcome, by the border guard. And that's where it starts. So this is, I'm really not kidding, this is a dream come true. And to share this with her is a beautiful thing. But what's also really interesting is I told you earlier that Ghana changed me forever.
Yeah.
And so what I find really beautiful is that Sarah's been telling me that she's getting to know me even more as she gets to know Ghana, because Ghana can't be extracted from me. And so to know Ghana is to know me.
Wow.
So this is a dream come true.
And for most people, they just come, experience the place, go to all the nice places, and then they go back. But then you found it very important, even being very young, 19 years old at that time, you were not open to a lot of things. And there were not a lot of things, I should say, back then for you to hold on to for coming back the next time, compared to now that we have all the development and all the amazing stuff going on. But you still came back.
Yeah.
And then Ghana has been part of you from that moment up till now. Wow. This is amazing.
Ghana set, I keep saying Ghana, but Ghana is the people.
Yeah.
So the people of Ghana set my life on a different path, truly. So I went home, I've talked a little bit about some of the challenges that I came home to and the intent that I wanted to bring my learning with me and to impact the change in my environment in Canada, right? But it truly set me on a different path. I want to share this, is that my time in Ghana was bitter and sweet. And with anywhere in the world, you're going to encounter things that are difficult and beautiful. And so I think the thing is to hang on and to carry and to promote the beautiful, which is what I was intending to do. But I also needed to reconcile some of the things that were difficult to see, that I hadn't been exposed to in Canada. And so I came home having experienced things that my mind couldn't fully understand. So I wasn't necessarily academically inclined before I came to Ghana, but after, my desire to understand, to answer questions of why, motivated me to go to school. And my studies became social justice and peace. That was my interest. And then my work became working around education, around social justice, around people experiencing homelessness in Canada, and how we can do better as a community, because that community aspect was so critical to me. So my life was set on a whole other path from here, essentially.
Yeah, let's talk about your homecoming. It's still on your homecoming, I should say. I saw a video on TikTok where you shared photos of you visiting in 1996 and then you coming back to meet some of the people who got us blessed and are still alive. You went around to meet these people. Tell me about the reconnection.
Sure. So I'd love to, by the way, and I'm really enjoying this chat. Thank you. I'll separate into two different experiences, because the north and then across. So the homecoming in the north was extraordinarily beautiful. I arrived back in Cheshire. the person who essentially took me on as his son was named Janfo, and he's now the chief of Cheshe, Zuna. And so we went to greet Zuna, and that was a beautiful experience. And to introduce Sarah, and Zuna gave her a Dagbani name. She became Suyini. And so that was all really beautiful process. And like I said, that dream coming true of sharing this with Sarah. And also, there were a number of elders in that community that really did a lot of caretaking for me. And some of them had passed. And so I went to visit their graves, and as is appropriate, gave a contribution of which goes to their grandchildren. Right. So I remember after I had visited a particular elder named Awisi, I went to bed that evening and I had a dream. Okay. Awisi visited me in my dream. Wow. Yeah. When I was here in 1996, at one point he provided me with a cloth that he wrapped me in to go to a funeral. And in my dream, he visited me because he knew that I had again been invited to a funeral this time. Okay. And he brought a cloth and he wrapped me in that cloth. Wow. And then we laughed together and just enjoyed each other's presence. I shared this with the people of Cheshe the next day, and they're like, "Oh, Awisi had visited you." Now, I could tell you so many things about my time in Cheshe that were absolutely beautiful. Right. The time with the Isifu family that hosted me, seeing the young boy, now a man. Mm-hmm. There was Veronica, who was born while I was there. I'm now having conversations with. It's mind-blowing. Wow, yeah. It's just so mind-blowing. So there's so many beautiful stories. But I'll share this one. On my last day in Cheshe, we wanted to thank everyone for the wonderful hosting that we had received. Mm-hmm. And I was so incredibly honored. I was in the Isifu family home, and the elders came, and they wrapped me in a cloth. Wow. Wow. And they led me out into the community. And we drummed and we danced. Wow. I want to say thank you. Yeah. I know I'm getting emotional here.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
I want to say thank you. Thank you to the people here. You didn't have to welcome me. You did. You took me in as your own. You named me. And you do it again. And thank you to the elders and the ancestors who have welcomed me again.
Right.
This is a beautiful thing. How can I not take these things home? I took them home in 96. The path forward, I'm not sure now, but I will carry this. So thank you.
Wow, this is very interesting.
So there's another story I'll share.
Yeah.
Also another beautiful one. I kept in touch with the people in the north. And we'd write letters to each other and what have you, which is great. But I lost touch with the family that I lived with in Accra. There was a wonderful woman who really saved me in so many ways. Mm. At the age of 19,
yeah.
I had this great idea, like any teenager who has no disregard, has so much disregard for risk, right?
Yeah.
And I went from Tamale on my own to Accra with very little plans. All I knew is I wanted to volunteer with street children. So I take the bus overnight, takes 12 hours, and I arrive. And I find the place that I can volunteer at. And I'm like, right on. And they'll take me.
Wow.
And they say, but you'll have to find a place to stay. Mm-hmm. Well, okay. don't quite know how to do that. And so I'm sitting on the front step of the Catholic Action for Street Children.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering, okay, what do I do now? And a car pulls up, and out of this car pops Sister Bernadette, the only human being I knew in Accra.
Okay.
She didn't know I was coming. She didn't know I was there. And of all of Accra, she shows up at that moment in that place. And she looks at me and she says, Pascal. And I'm like, Sister Bernadette, oh my gosh. And so we chat a little bit. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to volunteer here and all that sort of stuff. And she says, oh, but where are you staying?
Yeah.
Like, well, I don't know.
You don't know, please. Yeah.
So, long story short, she said, why don't you stay with my family? And
Just like that.
Just like that. And I was like, I'd be delighted. And so her family welcomed me in. And I stayed with her family, and I'd take the Trotro down to Arena Station and walk up and spend my time with street kids and all that sort of stuff, and then go back and what have you. And that was my time. But I lost touch with them. And 30 years is a funny thing for your memory. So all I remembered is Arena Station and Flamingo. Okay? But I don't know what that means. Like I started looking online to be like, how do I find them again? Because I'm going to physically be there. We'll see. And it was a great deal of research, because you can't look up Flamingo and it doesn't pop up online. And so anyway, it took me till here. I was going on Street View, all this sort of stuff. I think I found them. The building looks similar, but it now says it's a school.
Okay.
And I'm like, why not go anyway? So Sarah and I head there, and I'm walking up to the building, and I see this fella on the balcony, and I go like this, because I'm like, I know this face. I know this face. And he says, Pascal. And I'm like, Eric.
Okay.
Just like that. What I was surprised about is that the woman who hosted me, Nana, Sister Bernadette's mom, unfortunately, let me say this, is that Sister Bernadette died a number of years ago, way too young. And that's in part why I lost contact. Sister Bernadette's mom was still alive, is still alive, 94 years old. So here I am sitting with her, and it's one of those times in life that are so beautiful. You don't really have words, and yet the words don't matter. Just being with her, wow, incredible. So we spent that time, but I couldn't help but think there's a fella missing, Kofi, who was 7 years old at the time, Sister Bernadette's son. And but we found him too. Got on the phone with him, and what a shock. Last time I saw this guy, he was 7. And now I'm talking to a man. Yeah. But we see each other again, and we give each other this wonderful embrace. I feel really blessed.
Yeah.
Really blessed by this. And it's nice to connect again and to feel that again.
You know, myself, I'm beginning to understand why you say Ghana has changed you.
Yeah.
And why it is important for you to come back and, reconnect with all of these people, and bringing your wife back to Ghana to know about you. It is very important.
Yeah.
It is very important. And I'm very excited how Ghana has always been part of you for this long. Let's talk about, Accra.
Okay.
The whole place has changed.
Oh my gosh.
From the airport to the streets.
It's changed dramatically. So, in prepping for this trip, you kind of start to imagine things, memories start to get rekindled, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I arrive here and I don't recognize anything. Nothing. Eventually, the other day we drove by the post office and I was like, I do remember that building.
Okay.
But for the most part, like everything else, the physical environment has changed a lot. The development has been immense. Yeah. population has grown. Like all those kinds of things, the endeavors have expanded and changed. Um, uh, in some respects, I'm coming back to a city I thought I knew,
Yeah.
or I knew historically,
Uh-huh.
right? But I'm now coming to appreciate it for what it is now. And so, to me, adventure is important,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Adventure is, I define adventure as stepping outside of who you are right now. And so if you do that, if you step outside of who you are right now, you will grow.
Mm-hmm.
And that I call adventure.
Yeah.
So the adventure continues,
Right.
and the relearning happens,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that has been my journey here in Accra. And I've been enjoying it. We've gone to Makola Market, we went to Nima Market, we went to Medina Market, we've been to the university, the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial. Oh my gosh, gorgeous. This might sound strange, but he's one of my heroes.
Okay.
The way he thinks and what he brought and the legacy that continues to be felt here, this many years later, incredible. So to put it in context, I was here for the 40th anniversary, right?
Yeah.
And now 70.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Long time.
Absolutely amazing. It's amazing to see. Yeah, Ghana being Ghana, like when my ancestors left, and I'm using that in the broad context, when my ancestors left, Ghanaians took hold and made Ghana into what Ghanaians wanted Ghana to be.
Mm.
And that's an ever evolving process.
Yeah.
But that's one of the beauties about Ghana. There's other places on the continent that my ancestors didn't leave or tried to stay, and there was conflict, and the relationship is therefore different, right? So I think that's one thing that's unique in the history of Ghana that I think is important, and also has left a lasting impact.
Okay. So aside of Ghana, were there any other African countries that you visited?
Yes.
Okay.
So I fell in love with Ghana, as you know, which meant I wanted to experience more of the continent. And so when I finished my undergraduate education, I joined an ex-girlfriend who was studying in Durban, South Africa.
Okay.
And we did a bit of a tour. We went South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe. We went up to Kenya, Tanzania.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's you exploring the whole of Africa.
When you're addicted to something, you keep leaning into it, right? So, a good addiction.
Yeah.
A good addiction.
You visited the different African countries, but you still came back to Ghana.
Yes.
What are some of the things you couldn't find in the other African countries that was here?
I think the most important thing when I think about Ghana for me is the relationships. Yeah. And it's not that I couldn't or didn't develop that to some degree in other places on the continent, but that was certainly the extent of what happened in Ghana. And I would suggest that that's very much because of the welcoming that I received. Yeah. And so the relationships could be developed. And also, when you're moving from place to place, as we did on that journey, we didn't have the opportunity to develop that in the same way. But I do think there's also the history of this, right? Like, I mean, people who look like me aren't welcomed in certain places because the legacy is that much more felt in a continued way. And I respect that. I think I was sharing before about how I have such respect for Ghanaians because you have every reason to hate somebody like me, and yet you choose not to. That's a beautiful thing. And let me just say that I love that about Ghana.
Right, right. During your recent visit, also, you went to Cape Coast.
Yes,
Is that true?
that is true.
Tell me about the experience in Cape Coast, also.
I think it's critically important that we don't deny our past, that we face it for what it is. To me, this means that it's important that myself and Sarah go to Cape Coast Castle, or a number of various places where slaves were traded. It's important to acknowledge that these were my ancestors. It's difficult to see that, to know that, but difficult things are important. I think when we shy away from our histories that are difficult, we have the capacity to deny them and repeat them. I never want this to happen again. It was really, really difficult to see that level of organized, structured, intentional disregard for human beings. I'm still without words for it in many ways. I can't fix what my ancestors did. I can't fix the history. What I can do is ask myself, how do I engage now? What do I bring? And I think that one thing my ancestors failed to do that was absolutely critical is they failed to appreciate Ghana, to appreciate Africa, to appreciate the people here. When you fail to appreciate people, you start to perhaps see them as a commodity.
Yeah.
What a tragedy.
Yeah.
What a tragedy in a lot of ways. I don't need to get into all of them.
Right.
So many are known.
Yeah.
But I want to add perhaps something to the conversation.
Right.
And part of the tragedy is when you don't appreciate people, you don't grow. If you come in with a mindset that you know everything, or you come in the mindset that I'm going to take everything I can, you block yourself from growing as a person, from growing as a community, and frankly, from growing, I would even argue, economically. Right. Because I think that we do better, and research will support this, we do better when we all grow as opposed to just a few people grow. So that was my ancestors' failure. It's a failure that I don't want to recreate. I want to change, and that's why I intend to approach life with appreciation for people who are different than me. It's not my job to judge you. I don't get things out of that. You don't get something out of that. Mm-hmm. But if we can appreciate each other and we can grow from there, then I think that the world becomes a bigger place and we become bigger people in the process.
Okay.
So it sounded like a bit of a speech because it is, but it's also a passionate one.
Right.
There's places in the world, if I may just for a moment, there's places in the world that I see division growing. And it's a good reminder of what the end of that path could look like. Mm-hmm. Let's not take that route. Let's challenge that directly. Toronto, where I live, is one of the most diverse places in the planet. There's people from all over the world that live there. And it's an incredible city, I would argue, because of that. Because when my perspective is limited, there's somebody else who will be able to add.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we can grow together in that manner, as opposed to all this isolationism that doesn't bring us forward. All of that from a visit to a horrific place.
Yeah.
And I'll add this. One of the things that I appreciate about it the most is the door of return. This door is not for me, but I loved it because it's an invitation, a welcome to return.
Right.
And I know that this is happening.
Yeah.
And I find this really extraordinary and beautiful.
Okay.
There's a artist in New Orleans called B. Mike, and we saw some of his work, and it was this beautiful black woman who he had painted, and beside it he wrote, "I am my ancestors' wildest dreams."
Wow. Wow.
This is a joyful thought.
Yeah. I can see if it was left to you alone, you would like all of your folks experience the Cape Coast Castle. You want them to know, to be taught about how the process of, slavery and how whatever torture and everything they went through, you would love them to witness, to see, to read, to experience it, so they know how to come back and how to, treat black people. Moving forward, would you encourage people, your folks, your people, to come experience any of this?
I think it's a really valuable experience. Mm-hmm. I would ask people if they're going to spend some time in Ghana, to spend a bit of time there.
Right.
It's a difficult process, mm-hmm. no doubt.
Yeah.
But how can we move into the future together unless there's a real understanding of where we've been? As horrific as it is, it's a representation of what we don't want to be. Right. I've said this already, but I can't fix what my ancestors did. Yeah. But don't confuse that with wanting to deny it. I think it's critical we don't deny it, and therefore I think I would invite people to know it.
Right. Wow. It's been a very interesting conversation.
I'm loving my chat with you.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Let's go back to some fun things that you did over here during your visit in Accra.
All right.
I don't know what kind of food was around in the 90s.
Right.
But what are some of the food you tried in the 90s, and coming back, did you, have to go look for those foods again?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
But the challenge is sometimes I don't know where to find it, right? So
okay.
You kind of got to go bit by bit.
Yeah.
But for me, yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing, is when I was here in the 90s, like as a teenager, teenagers are picky in their eating, right? And then to come to a whole new place and be exposed to different food. Right. There were some foods, I admit, that when I first was exposed to them, I didn't like them. Okay. But I've developed a taste for them. Wow. And you can't get them in Canada, right? We don't grow cassava. We don't grow yam. We don't grow pineapple or mango or what have you. I have been enjoying the food re-adventure, let's put it this way. Yeah. So chopping keke, red sauce, shito, banku,
wow.
Yams.
Wache? Have you had wache?
Oh, yes, I have wache.
Okay.
And what else? Like, there's so many rice with palm nut red sauce.
Jollof?
We've had jollof.
Jollof.
Yeah, enjoy jollof. I gather that I enjoy jollof a lot. I gather there's a competition between Nigeria and Kenya. Nigeria and Ghana.
Ghana, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't been in Nigeria. I can't say.
All right.
But I can say that the jollof in Ghana is very good.
Thank you very much for that comment.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
Right.
And I mean the fish, being taught how to eat the fish too, right? Like, I mean, when I'm served fish or whatever in Canada, it's just the meat. It's not the whole fish. Okay. And so now I get to appreciate the whole fish, which is good. Right. So those kinds of things. So much. Here's the other reality. I don't eat mango or pineapple, for example, at home. It's terrible because it flies from places like here. And it's picked when it's not ripe and all that sort of stuff. The mango and pineapple here, like, I mean, I'm getting fat. Okay. I kid you not, I've gained weight.
Okay.
I've been here a month, I'm probably up 15 pounds. Watch out.
Yeah.
But no, I'm really loving it.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
loving it.
Interesting.
Maybe loving it a little too much.
Right. And Kelly Willie.
Yes. Oh, Killy Willy.
Yeah?
Yeah. So when I was living in Accra, there was a woman who sold Killy Willy just down the street. It wasn't every day, but I'd go check every day because I loved it. And I think this is part of why I've gained a few pounds, because I finally found the Killy Willy lady close to here, and go almost every evening. But and what's lovely is this: it's not just a transaction. The other day I went with Sarah, and then last night I went on my own. And they're like, "Where's your wife?"
You see what I'm talking about?
I see what you're talking about.
About the caring and the hospitality and all of that.
Yeah.
They're going to ask, okay, where is she? Is she okay?
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Moving forward, what is going to be advice to anybody moving forward to come visit Ghana, come visit Africa?
My biggest advice is be open. You will come with a mindset of whatever you think this might look like. You will not leave with the same one. I hope you don't leave with the same one. There's so much to appreciate about Ghana, about the people. To me, my time in Ghana, the beautiful thing is relationships. Relationships that I built then, relationships that are developing now. This is a really wonderful thing. So, yeah, I think it's really important to just come with an open heart, see where you go, let it be an adventure. One of the things that I often say to myself is this: nothing ruins a good time like trying to turn something into something it's not. Don't try to make it, like for me as a Canadian, I don't want to make my experience in Ghana a Canadian experience. I want it to be a Ghanaian experience. Otherwise, why would I come here? If my intention is just to do everything I do in Canada, why bother? So that means, going to chat with the Killy Willy lady, and eat that great food. That means spending time checking out Makola Market or Medina Market or Nima Market, and chatting with the wonderfully proud people who do the amazing work in Ghana. This to me is important. This to me is where it's at. I also love the fact that, like, you won't see an advertisement but all of a sudden you're in Jamestown Kenke House. Yeah. You don't know it's there unless somebody leads you there. But then all of a sudden you're eating this amazing Kenke. Yeah. Or the other day I was in Timber Market. Okay. Timber Market for me, Timber Market, right? And we went there just by going through a little alleyway. I didn't know this. I had no idea. I lived here for a couple months in 1996. I didn't even know these kinds of things existed. So this is a thing about being open, is that you can sort of see where it takes you. And every day that I'm here, sometimes I have an idea of, I want to do this or that or whatever, but don't get attached to that idea because it will turn into something else. Let it turn into something else. So all of a sudden I saw myself, me who loves carpentry, I'm hanging out with a guy who's turning wood. Wow. Right? And just watching the beauty of his practice and shaking his hand, and like his hand is so strong he could crush you. These kinds of things, right? Anywhere in the world where people are proud of what they do, I just soak it up. You can't help but appreciate that. So if you can meet that and enjoy all the food, Burkina, for example, the other day, wow, that blew my mind. Loved it. So when we're done, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions about the things I haven't done. Okay. And we'll go from there.
I'll be glad to tell you a lot.
Very good.
Before we go also, you were here in 1996.
Yeah.
You came back 2026.
Yeah. What
do you think the future holds for Africa?
So let me express it as a hope. Okay. I hope that the future of Ghana, the future of Africa, is for Ghanaians, is for Africans. Right? Colonialism developed a lot of trade routes that were with the imperial powers, right? And those relationships have continued in a number of ways. But the intertrade in the continent hasn't, in my opinion, developed as much as it can be. Africa as a continent has everything it needs. It has all the agriculture it needs. It has all the minerals. It has all the resources. It has all of those things to thrive. And my hope is that this can develop. I express it as a hope, simply as an outsider. Right? But I think more important to that is building the kind of society that you want, not the kind of society that I made envision.
Okay.
Because if you build the kind of society that I envision, or that you see in just Canada, North America, or whatever, then what makes you distinct? And that's right. It's your distinction that I think is so incredible. It's your distinction that means that when I visit here and I return home, I carry with me the beauty of what I've learned, of how I've grown. So if we just all try to be like each other, then we don't offer to each other. So that would be my hope.
It's been a very, very interesting conversation with you. I appreciate your time, making time to talk to us and all of that. And a lot of people come to experience all the to have all the experience, but then just a few people are willing to share their experience with the whole world. So thank you so much for this insightful conversation and history. We are very glad, and we believe it's going to go a long way to impact a lot of people, especially your people from your side. Yeah, thank you so much.
Look, my absolute pleasure. The thing is, I live in this body.
Right.
I live with my thoughts.
Yeah.
For me, this is just who I am.
Okay.
What I love is that you appreciate it. Mm-hmm. To me, that's the gift.
Right.
So, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's an honor. Also. What's your name again?
Which one?
The Accra one?
Kweku Mensah.
Kweku Mensah. Medasi Bebre.
Medasi.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. You got big heads.
Yeah, I do. All right. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Afri Xperience podcast. It's been a very insightful conversation. I enjoyed it. It's by far one of my favorite, episodes, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it too. Let me know whatever you think in the comment section about our conversation, and it's going to be out on TikTok and everywhere for you to watch. Especially, he's a big superstar now, so yeah, it's going to be out for you to watch. Thank you, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. My name is Great Jesse.